Hey friends, today is March 22nd. This is our primary lesson. Our memory verse today is, "Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble." Psalms 32:7. And we are continuing on in our lessons about Elijah. Remember, last week we had talked about how Elijah had been dealing with evil King Ahab. And evil King Ahab believed in Baal. And so Elijah had challenged the prophets of Baal. They had gone to Mount Carmel, and Baal's prophets had prayed all day long, and there was no answer. And Elijah, on the other hand, did a very short prayer. He had covered everything in water, and usually water can put out fire. But he'd covered everything in water and even had a trench built around it. And he had prayed to God a short prayer, and God answered, and he sent the fire, and it consumed everything, including some of the dirt, and we talked about that. Well, in our Bible story today, we'll learn about one important way that Elijah was like us, because even though he lived a long, long time ago and he may have eaten things that are different than what we eat, he may have worn clothes that are different, we have some similarities. And he needed God's help, just like we do. And I want you to listen to a time when Elijah needed God's help. Who remembers what God sent from heaven on Mount Carmel? Did you say the fire? That was a great victory for God. Elijah, God's prophet, must have felt great, but soon Elijah didn't feel joy. Instead, he felt afraid. Evil Queen Jezebel was a sore loser. She sent a message to Elijah. She said, "By this time tomorrow, I'll kill you." And she was known for killing prophets. Elijah knew Jezebel had the power to kill him, so he ran away. Elijah ran into the desert. He ran and ran until he was very tired. At last, Elijah stopped to rest under a tree. Elijah was so tired and afraid that he asked God to die. Then he laid down and went to sleep. Ever felt like that before? You just felt so awful. Well, that's how Elijah was feeling. He was very discouraged. But God didn't want Elijah to die. Instead, God sent an angel. The angel woke Elijah. "Get up and eat," the angel said. Elijah saw bread to eat and water to drink. So Elijah ate and drank. Then he went back to sleep. Later, the angel came back with more food and water for Elijah. Now Elijah was ready. He walked for 40 days until he came to Mount Sinai, and at the mountain, Elijah found a cave and spent the night. So Elijah was tired, and he was exhausted, and he was worn out, and he didn't have any energy. And that's probably part of why he felt so horrible. So God sent an angel to feed him and bring him water. And now he's continued on his journey. The next morning, God asked Elijah, "Why are you here?" "Lord, I have always served you," Elijah said, "but no one loves you. People kill your prophets. I'm the only one left, and they're trying to kill me too." "Go stand in front of me on the mountain," God said. So you can feel Elijah's fear. People have already been killing God's prophets. First, God sent a strong wind. The wind was powerful, but God was not in the wind. Next, God sent an earthquake. The earthquake was powerful, but God was not in the earthquake. After that, God sent a fire. The fire was powerful, but God was not in the fire. After the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, there was a gentle voice. That was God. God was there to help Elijah. Elijah hid his face and went to listen to God. "Why are you here?" God asked. God knew the answer, but he wanted Elijah to tell him. Elijah repeated his complaint. "Lord, I've always served you," Elijah said, "but no one loves you. People kill your prophets. I'm the only one left, and they're trying to kill me too." And God had an answer. First, he told Elijah who would defeat and replace King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Second, God told Elijah to find a man named Elisha. God had chosen this man to travel with Elijah as a friend and a servant. Finally, God said, "I have 7,000 people who have never served Baal." Elijah was not the only one who loved and served God. And so sometimes, even though we feel all alone and we think, "Oh, we're the only one who's dealing with something like this," we're not. We're not. Just like Elijah was not alone. Imagine how much better Elijah felt after God talked to him. Now he knew that God had a plan to help him. Elijah left Mount Sinai with strength and courage to obey God. Do you ever feel like Elijah? Do you feel like you're the only Christian? But as God cared for Elijah, God cares for you. So remember this Bible verse. "You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble." Psalms 32:7. When you feel sad, frightened, or alone, you can do what Elijah did. you can go to God for help. And if you ask God for help, God will help you. Okay, friends, just remember, in this time of trouble, God will help you just as he helped Elijah. He loves you just as much as he loved Elijah, and his power is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and he changes not. All right, love you guys. See you soon.